Welcome back to the afternoon session.
And for this afternoon session, I will give the stage back to the moderator for the paper presentation. Please welcome Dr. Catherine Castaneda, the Vice President for Academic Affairs at Adaptation University.
Thank you. Good afternoon to one and all. I think everybody had a nice time last night when we were putting the flowers onto the sea or a pond, to the pond, and that's supposed to drive away all our problems. So I take it that everybody now does not have any more problems, okay? Okay, this afternoon we have 4 sessions, and I'm moderating the 4 sessions. The first 2, after the first 2 sessions, let's have an open forum because these are related talks, okay, in a way. And after that, we'll have, again, question and answer after the next 2 speakers come here and present their paper. The first paper is Testing the Post-Colonial Climate, Deconstructing the Binary Oppositions of the Male Protagonist in J.M. Coetzee's Disgrace. I'd like to tell the body that this particular testing thing was done by Ms. Ruwitsa Sangkawadi and Usa Padgate, okay? Ms. Sangkawadi is an undergraduate student at the Department of English, Faculty of Humanities in Naresuan University, and Ma'am Usa is the Assistant Professor, Department of English, also from the same faculty in Naresuan University. Without much ado, we'd like to request them to present their paper. Yes, okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Radvisa Sangkawadi. Today, I'm going to present the results of my undergraduate thesis study, titled Deconstructing the Binary Oppositions of the Male Protagonist in James Coetzee's Disgrace. Disgrace is a novel written by James Coetzee and published in 1999. The story is about the life of David Lowry, a university professor of English in Cape Town, South Africa, who has an affair with a student and is forced to resign from his job. He then travels to a remote town of Salem in the Eastern Cape to spend time with his daughter, who owns a farm there. At the farm, he meets Petrus, a native of Salem who works on the farm as a farmhand. As the novel progresses, Petrus proves to be the one who fits in natural environment, and racial segregation and post-colonialism are reflected and challenged throughout the story through various elements in the novel, particularly through the opposition, personal and political, of David and Petrus. Disgrace won the 1999 Booker Prize, and Coetzee won the Nobel Prize in 2003. The research objective is to investigate the representation of the binary oppositions of the male protagonists, David and Petrus, in James Coetzee's Disgrace, in order to explore the power shift between these 2 male protagonists. There are two research questions. First, how are the binary oppositions related to racial and colonial powers represented through the male protagonist in James Coetzee Disgrace? And second, how do these binary oppositions shift during the course of the novel? The study bases its analysis on the concepts of binary oppositions and deconstruction. Moreover, the analysis takes into account historical backgrounds on racism and post-colonialism. Binary oppositions are defined by the structuralist as contrary ideas which are obviously opposite to each other. For instance, male and female, right and left, day and night, in which one is generally regarded as superior to the other. Male is generally regarded as superior to female, for example. Deconstruction is the philosophical and literary analysis developed by the French philosopher Jacques Derrida. It questions the binary oppositions through the language and logic of literature. Racism refers to the occurrences around the world in the way of a strong feeling of opposition or hatred among people based on disparate appearances. Racial inequalities can be perceived socially significant in health, wealth gap and poverty, housing, education, and unemployment. Post-colonialism refers to a critical theoretical approach in literary studies, which significantly indicates a political, historical, and cultural transformational resistance to unequal political and cultural authority of the colonial conflicts between the West and the non-West, dating from 16th century to the present day. This qualitative research investigates the conflict of power and the deconstruction of racial and colonial binary oppositions perceived to be in existence between the two male protagonists based on the framework of Jacques Derrida's deconstruction and with the considerations about elements of racism and post-colonialism. The findings reveal four categories of binary oppositions, namely white and black, colonizer and colonized, culture and nature, and man and animal. The white-black binary opposition generally displays the racial segregation in which white people are identical to our goodness while black people are identical to our badness. From the excerpts of the novel, David's objection of his daughter's professional location is based on his alignment of her chosen profession and location with those of black people. Petrus, on the other hand, represents the black population in South Africa. His occupation reflects his rural duties, typical of the status of the black population in South Africa, in a land ruled by white people. However, as the novel progresses, David's race and education lose their significance when dealing with the elements of nature as a farmer does on a daily basis. While Petrus' status and fortune expand because he is hardworking and much fitter physically and mentally to survive in that native and raw environment. A crucial turning point happens when the three black intruders rape Lucy and almost burn David alive. Needing protection, Lucy finally agrees to marry Petrus. In the end, Petrus is taking over both David's daughters and Lucy's farm by marrying her. In conclusion, a racial division which shows the difference between the power of the white and black is deconstructed by the displacement of the white character in the terms of space from Cape Town to Salem, and time from the illusion of colonialism to the reality of post-colonialism. And consequently, the control power of binary opposition is shifted over from the white to the black. Next, colonizer and colonized. Post-colonial authors are commonly concerned with people bearing the scar of colonialism. Disgrace, however, in this respect, is different. James Coetzee, the author, is white, and therefore of the race of the colonizers rather than the colonized. The male protagonist, David, is also white. The novel reflects the struggles of the post-colonial whites in coming to terms with their new social status and even dependence on others. From the excerpt, Lucy is aware of the changing status following the end of the apartheid regime. She accepts the new situation with dignity. David, however, being of an older generation, does not yet understand what is happening and clings to his old ideas of colonial justice. When Petrus declares himself no longer a dogman, he becomes an example for the changing opportunities for the black population in South Africa in the post-apartheid period. He reclaims the lands of his ancestors by investing his energy in it, making it proper again for his own people, and taking complete control over it, financially, socially, and even legally through his marriage to Lucy. Next, culture and nature. David, as a university lecturer with a taste for the opera, represents culture. Petrus, on the other hand, represents the nature of the land, robust and fertile. While David spends his time in Salem supposedly composing a chamber opera on Byron, Petrus never stopped toiling the land and improving the farm. When the situation at Salem eventually forces David to help out with manual tasks, he falls under Petrus' control. In the environment of rural Salem, the academic knowledge that David has becomes useless and impractical. In contrast, Petrus is the one who proves to fit in the natural environment and triumphs over cultural constructs such as the economy and matrimony. Lastly, man and animal. Throughout the novel, the dogs on Lucy's farm and at the animal welfare convey the novel's emphasis on social status and personal disgrace. Petrus relates his changing social status in coming to terms with the association of a dog. Either he is the dogman or he is not anymore the dogman. David, on the other hand, comes to accept the disgrace of his professional and personal losses through the eyes of the dog, and to learn to live with the humiliation like a dog. He has finally learned that the time has come to admit defeat, as represented through the condition of a dying dog. In conclusion, 4 types of binary oppositions, white and black, colonizer and colonized, culture and nature, and man and animal, are deconstructed in the context of racial and colonial powers. The message of the novel is that power is problematic. When it shifts, it has the consequences for its main characters. At the end of the novel, power, social, financial, and political power has completely tipped over to the side of the black and the colonized, who represents nature and even often associate with the animals. These are the references that are for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rutwitsa Sangkawadi. It's a very interesting presentation. And I think if I may trace my anthropological background, I can understand part of exactly what she was trying to explain here. But let's entertain the questions later on. It's very interesting to see that people's mindset are affected by their worldview and the attitudes that we have towards a lot of things in life. Okay. Let's move on to the next speaker. This time it's reading into a zombie apocalypse. The 3 ways to present a dystopia of lies and laughter. And we have here as the presenters Ms. Usa Padgate, Ms. Jantima Simpson, and Dr. Isara Kongmi. Okay. And I think it's Dr. Isara Kongmi who will be presenting. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Welcome, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So today is my first time presentation since I finished my PhD about 3 years ago. So please excuse me if I have to rely much more on the note on the table. Well, let me introduce myself first. My name is Dr. Isra Kongmi from Department of Department of English, Naresuan University. And I'm teaching here, and today I'm represent my teammates from the drama society that we gonna make the play pretty soon. Well, I'll tell you about this later. So, well, this research conduct with the colleagues of my me and Assistant Professor Dr. Usa Padgate and Assistant Professor Dr. Jantima Simpson. So we work together, and the title of this presentation is Reading into a Zombie Apocalypse, 3 Ways to Present Dystopia of Lies and Laughter. Okay, let me move on to the next slide, please. Well, you can see this is the play. The title, 10 Ways to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse in 2013 was the year that it's written. And it's the one-act comedy written by American playwright Don Solidis. The play is modernist as well as the minimalistic in style, but optimized on story where 4 friends collectively refers to as the survivors struggle to stay alive from imminent zombie attack in episodes that are watched, commented, and eventually act upon 2 narrators. So this is the story. Okay. This is our presentation. So I break into 3 parts. The first one is introduction, methodology, and the last one is the result. And then we will talk about the conclusion part in the end. And well, the next one, introduction. Okay, let me talk about the first thing is as an apocalyptic story about with an overlay of comedy. So this plays present desperate character in dissonant society wrecked by a plague that is as disruptive as any extreme climate change. So now it's related to the climate change. At first glance, the play seems to poke fun at human hunger for morbid fantasy. A close reading, however, reveals a not so unrealistic tales of human struggles in an utterly inhuman climate. This study proposed to demonstrate way by which the play relies precautionary message of both moral and social collapse. The results indicate that the play employed the modernist tool to negotiate the audience attention to find the comic niches in dire circumstances and to make even zombie relatable to the modern world. Next. Okay, we move on to methodology. This study investigates a process by which Don Surrey's 10 ways to survive the zombie apocalypse illustrated humans' paranoia to take control and human fear of an irretrievable society and cultural breakdown as represented through dystopia caused by zombie plague. Literary perspective as well as consideration for popular culture are the lenses through which the texture's analysis is conducted. In keeping with the spirit of comedy of Solidy's original play, the results of this study are presented in language that aim to lighten the actual earnestness of masses guys Solidy's play has mastered. Next, which is the result, but it's going to be longer than you think. And the results of the analysis are presented in 3 sections, as is said in the title, illustrating different aspects of fighting, namely, the first one is tying the mask, and the second one is make them laugh. And the last one going to be 1984 once more. Sound similar? Okay, let's see the first one, the results. The modern world is hectic. Fast-changing plagues. The modern-day population often experiences a sense of loss of direction and value as knowledgeable they have inherited from trusted sources can no longer guide them to the goal they wish to achieve at the speed they wish to achieve them. To deal with the pressing tasks, they are required to discuss well-rehearsed values and hurry acquire actual one, create both cultural and emotional mess in the process. As results, direction are needed and as is case promptly provided. Evidence of this can be seen in countless how-to manuals on virtual or subject and all forms in which complex and not so complex situations are digested, and advice to tackle them is offered in February, not too many steps and or method. A quick search on the internet, if you might, you will see the results such as 3 tips of manage the stress. Give me 5 minutes and I give you 5 ways to earn more and 9 different ways to say stupid. This is from dictionary.com. Okay, and what about 10? 10 is an especially strong number as it is tidy yet powerful, suggests compulsion, achievement, and fulfillment. In everyday usage, the expression 10 out of 10 is used to indicate that someone is completely correct. This extremely well. In entertainment, the movie titles such as 10 Things I Hate About You 1999. Somebody might have seen this one before. And How to Lose the Guy in 10 Days in 2003 have proved to be crowd drawer in recent decades. So this is the evidence. Okay, now in the slide you can see 10 plus 2. So this is the rules in the story. So you got a little bit of spoilers from the story. Okay, let me explain a little bit about this one. Don Surrey's 10 Ways to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse reflects the modern world's tendency to simplify the categorized idea into convenience number regardless of probability or logic or reality. Fleeing zombie could no doubt to be overwhelming tasking. Fortunately, when a zombie apocalypse finally arrives, we have some handy method to resort to the play showcasing 10 methods to do just that. And as you can see, some are obvious and thus inescapably sensible. Who would argue with the logic? Number 9, you can see number 9, run really fast. That's the way to survive the zombie. For example, some require certain skill, such as method 6, Kung Fu, certain 2, such as method 3, overwhelming firepower, if you have gun, for example, and complete fate, such as method number 8, romance the zombie, fate of love. Some are plain vicious, such as method 1, kind of bad idea, sacrifice the weak. And some are not remotely feasible for most earth dwellers, such as method number 10, nearly finished one, leave the planet. But they are, should we need any or all of them? The author provides a security of 10 steps to take remedies and apocalypse, which implies that if you follow the step, then balance control are certainly regained, right? Not quite yet, as it turned out. Just when all seems well and extraterrestrials such as method 10 leave the planet, man reverts to animalisms, method 11, that's plus 2, cannibalism and chicken out of the play. Method number 12, leave the play, so it's comedy. And these two extra methods are self-serving and non-apologetic, inserted to satirize man's self-interest that is a threat for greater than that of horde of zombie. In method, the survivors and narrator play dirty trick to turn one another into food first for the human and then for zombie, thus making themselves indistinguishable from brain-thirsty, blood-sucking zombie, as well as to parody the defiance of the number 10, noting that the number 10 is the title now become 10 plus 2 and not 12. If you can see that, not 12. So the next slide is about overstuffing, the list of the true extras. So they talk about plus 2. Incidental yet crucial method to play ridicule man attempt as well as the failure to make control of other as much as of his own doing. In this, there is a hidden message that life are tougher than we think, no matter how modern time and simplify everything into lists. The point is well made, and the solidest named his play as having 10 ways when in desperation, panic, nothing seems to help, not even covered additional more solution. For all the lies and laughter these scenes produce, the human efforts to take control is fronted first over zombie and finally over themselves. The message could not be clearer, more ironic, and the man finally is become his own worst enemy, and that keeping the earth in order start with keeping man in order. And what about the zombies? They like global warming, for example, are mere excuses for men to throw dirt to one to another and to exploit the poor old Mars. Okay. Okay, the next slide, you can still see the method from 1 to 12, but we will talk about the make them laugh, which is the second one. Another way Solidis engage the audience in serious subject of play is to embrace the absurd, so embrace the laugh. Laughter can be elicited from grazing at title of method alone. For example, method number 4, join the zombie. Method number 7, reason with zombie, which is impossible. If you watch the movie, you can't do that. And again, method number 8, romance the zombie. So you can make the zombies to in love with you, but this is a comedy, you can do that. These titles are deliberate, desperate, and pathetic, but who wouldn't be in such situation? So they are easily to laugh at and with. Dramatic irony bring about the very laugh or two when, example, in method number 5, if you can see over there, a little bit hard to see, which is really long. Okay, let me try. Raise genetically modified killer dog which can attack and destroy zombie and injure survivor. So this is talking about an this injured survivor is deserted by all of his friends, and this considered to be weakest link. So the survivor, the large number, they will sacrifice him. Hence, this possible due to his injury, but turned out to be the only one to survive because of the scene show that he owned his survivor to the genetically modified killer dog which can attack and destroy zombie, talk like a robot now, which has been raising secret from which his friend could not benefit because they were in such hurry to run away from him. And as it happened, straight into the jaw of zombies. In addition, situational irony prompts a laugh for a twist at end when in method 10 leave the planet. The survivor, this is one I like the most, survivor alive at space centers, ready to make the escape from the Earth, use a spaceship for example, and only to find that the state-of-art smart public-sized spaceship is indeed the size of baseball. So who's gonna fit in? Therefore, belief in escape from the earth to the heaven is just illusory, overwhelming by this illusionment, disappointment, and despair. The survivor abandoned all civilization and make cannibalistic plot against the narrator, the god-like figure who have been caressing the narrative, as it often happens when humans meddle with the god turn against them and have the zombie eat all of survivors in the end. Okay, let me try the next one. Okay, the moral. So when you watch the story, so you expect the moral. So what about this one? So to quote the story, the moral is there is no survival. You are doomed. One may need reminding. This is the point that is the comedy. So we don't take it seriously. Okay, this one is a very serious one for me. 1984, Once More. Have you ever read the novel? Okay. Let me explain a little bit. And a dystopian society such as that presented in 10 ways to survive the zombie apocalypse recall other dystopias in popular works such as Los Angeles in neo-noir movie Blade Runner 1982, and Oceania in George Orwell's novel 1984, which is published in 1949. The tonal connection to previous cinematics and literary phenomena lends weight to message to play, turn subjects of fantasy into currencies with serious relevance to concern of modern world, such as dehumanization, tyrannical ruler, environmental disaster, in morality and society. Next one, I want to add a little bit more about this one, as should be obvious by the end of the play. The principal aim for those struggling against inhuman antagonisms is not only to try to survive, but is also work against the odds to retain humanism within themselves. Without it, humans are no different from zombies, they so abhor. Okay, a little bit more. Also, Soviet's play mirrors Orwell, big brothers who keep orders through constant vigilance and intervenes when his own interest is threatened. The omnipresent narrators of the play are Soviet big brothers whose tyranny is displayed most clearly toward the end when the narrative they have been dictating is challenged by outbursts of repressed, manipulated survivors and whose sermons of love and humanity. So they said in the story, if we all just love each other and believe in peace, humanity will be just fine. So this is in the story they read, is seriously misleading and only serving as a self-promotion. Here comes the conclusion. Okay. The study of Don Cerides explored three ways by which play relate to modern audience precautionary messages, both moral and social collapse. The first one, the play imitates the modern world fondness for a simplified solution presented as a list and aptly reflected in play title. It then jabs at its own joke by overstuffing lists with two incidental yet crucial methods, thus suggesting man's attempt as well as failure to take control of others as much as of his own doings. The next one, which is the second one, the play draws different shades of laughter from both light and dark humor. And in spite of doomsday prophecy insisted upon by one of the narrator in deliberate absurdity of turning point in which narrator take active part the direction of the story, overriding its gravity, thus creating dramatic surprise and surreal humor. And the last one is the play pay homage to Orwellian society portrayed in its forerunner by predicting similar state of physical and moral ruin, hence making sure that the audience will leave the theater light with the comedy of zombie affair and heavy with the reality of human affront. Okay, nearly finished. At the closure of the play, the survivors are dead. This is spoiler. The zombies are still at large, and the rather status quo is kept intact. The image projected is that the glory of comrades are typical of the totalitarian propaganda. Narrator 1 and Narrator 2 stand shoulder to shoulder, gazing out at their bright future. Contrary to the bright future, ironically depicted, one imagine without difficulty dark and desolated landscape work of natural beauty or human warmth on the horizon. The zombies are suffering about oblivious of the crumbling world around them. Okay, here's the last one. And that was the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening. I'd like to end with the, we will have the play next year in February. The title is the same as we mentioned, 10 Ways to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse. So the evening of performance is February 7, 2020 from 5 p.m. So everybody is welcome. And if you want to see a little bit more, so you can go to the Facebook page. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Somi. Very interesting again. We'd like to ask first, before Dr. Somi answers the set of questions, are there questions for the first speaker, for Ms. Rutwisa Sungkawadi, on the binary oppositions? Any questions from the floor? on binary oppositions. You know, this treatise that they're doing, I'd consider it as some form of content analysis where they really look at behavior patterns of people from the point of view of what they see in a play and what they see in a, what do you call this? In a, one is a play and the other one is a, so one is a play and the other one is a write-up, no? It's a write-up, okay. We'd like to ask if there are questions on the first one, on the binary oppositions. Well, I'd like to say that really, without us knowing it, we always have that concept of white and black, colonized versus the colonizer, culture versus nature, man versus animal, and some of us acting in exactly the same way. Many of the things that were brought up reflects a mindset of people, and without us knowing it, is consciously or unconsciously in our mindset. And therefore, as I said, our worldview is governed by all of these experiences. It's all a matter of how we handle this thing, understand it, and as the opera puts it, we should be where we are, and that is that as much as possible, let us get too much of these protagonists in the picture. Okay? For the second one, are there questions in the case of the paper of Dr. Kongmi? Again, his paper is talking about zombies, but I'm not as detailed as they are, but from what I gather, the struggles that we are having here in this whole wide world of ours depends a lot on the way we handle the situations that we are facing right now. And many of us act like zombies. In fact, the question I'd like to ask is, with the complications in our world now, how do we actually tidy up the mess and how do we get the zombies out? Or if they're here to stay forever, how does our mindset work such that we can humanize all these different effects? Did I get it right, sir? I see. We'd like to ask if there are any questions for both speakers. Okay, if there are none, I think you can get the chance to see the play and write and read also the story behind the post-colonial binary oppositions in disgrace, if you get the chance. Okay. Okay, our next two speakers are now again back to climate change. So after the very detailed analysis of the play and the novel, let's go back to climate change and its impact, this time on storm surge and society, a case study of coastal community at Koh Tao Subdistrict, Songla Province. And we have quite a number of authors here. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Naresuan, Sriporn Pradit, Dadsadi, Muenhor, Prawit Tawatana, Usman Wangsanwi, Norma Sama from the Institute of Peace Studies, Prince of Songkla University in Songkla, Thailand. Okay, and they all come from the Prince from that university, and the reporter for this particular session is Dr. Pradit. Is Dr. Pradit here? Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, Dr. Pradit. You may take the seat and present the study. Thank you.
Sawadika. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, everybody. For the second talk of my today is about the climate change and its impact on storm surge and society. A case study of coastal community at Got Teo sub-district, Songkhla province. So the name below is our team from different faculty, Prince of Songkhla University. Yeah, here is our team from Peach Institute, Faculty of Environmental and Marine and Coastal Resources Institute with the community. We work with the community. First of all, let me give you a little brief on the storm. On the left-hand side, I think all of you see this image before. When we have the storm, the middle of here at the center is the low pressure, and then in the center we can call it the eye of the storm, and that picture is the Thailand, and Songkhla province is here, around here, Songkhla province. And on the right hand side, if in the middle of storm, it will be low pressure in the dot blue, but the wind velocity or wind speed, it will be very high. You see the black curve to peak, the wind speed is very high. When the wind speed is very high or maximum wind speed, it will be make the water level in that area, it will be swollen like that. Okay. If you see from this image, you can, when storm surge, it will be depend on the air pressure and also wind speed and tidal level. The red color is the water level that's become like this shape in the center of the storm. When the storm move to shoreward, that mass of water is also follow the storm and hit the shore. It cause the storm surge. So effects of the storm surge will be wind. Windy is very heavy wind and heavy rain and also storm surge. And it's often occur in the southern part of Thailand. It also cause the coastal flooding and also coastal erosion together with deposition as well. Here is the study area. This study area is located in Songkhla province. In this area, they often have the coastal erosion in the northeast monsoon season. Northeast monsoon season starts from November to February in southern part of Thailand. And when they have the problem of coastal erosion, the government will help the local people they will bring the rock, the big rock, to make a kind of wall in the coastal. But it also will create another erosion in another area. But we will talk that maybe for the next paper, not this time. For this research, we have two parts. The first part, we do the questionnaire. We ask the villager from 10 villages. And then we also, the second part, we collect the secondary data from the methodology data. Here I'm not sure that how many questionnaire we use. If I'm right, it's around 80 questionnaire. Then we create a group discussion or focus group with the villager and the community. And also we do the deep interview with many people, many stakeholders in the community, and ask them about how often of the storm surge occur in this area and how the community adapt to the problem of climate change, problem of storm surge, and problem of the coastal erosion. Then we compare the knowledge, the data set from the questionnaire that we interview the people with the set of scientific data from the secondary data, and then we try to compare and relate these two components together. This result is the statistical data of the tropical cyclones that move to the southern region for 68 years, since 1951 to this year. The right-hand side, the last column, is the passing area. In the southern part, we have 14 provinces. I think 14 province, and then my province is Songkhla province, and Songkhla province, that I'm come from this province. And we have the several storm hit the coastal area. Then from that table, the previous table, we can summary to this pie chart. The storms hitting the coastal area in the southern region during this period, it will be in the, if you can see the orange color, the storm hit the area in the northeast monsoon season more than is summer season. Summer season is pray around March, April, May, something like that. And why the storm hit it only in the northeast monsoon season? Then you can find from the, maybe can read more from another paper. The climate change affects the phenomena of abnormal sea level rise near the coast, which is associated with the influence of low air pressure that I told you, the low air pressure in the middle of the storm and strong winds. The secondary methodological data show that most of storms moving shoreward in the southern region were in the same period as the northeast monsoon. The northeast monsoon wind is go like this to the, like a microphone is the southern part of Thailand. Northeast monsoon is blow like this. It's also hit to the coast. But in the summer season, the wind is blow. If I'm right, it's blow another way to that part like that. That's why in the northeast monsoon season, they have the storm hit more than the summer season. According to interview results with the communities located on the coast of Got Tau Sub-District, Songkhla Province, it was found that the occurrence of the storm surge washing ashore would carry sands from the sea landward in some areas and accumulate them on the edge of the road. So if you visit our province in the northeast monsoon season, you will see that some road that next to the sea it will be cause the coastal erosion, that sometimes you cannot pass, and sometimes sand from the sea also jump on the road. Another cause, coastal erosions, and the villagers to it means when they have the coastal erosion, the villagers unable to go fishing because near the coast, normally in my province, they have a lot of fishermen. So that's why when the storm comes, they cannot go for fishing, and then when they cannot go fishing, they has no income. So it's also one of the problem. The adaptation of people when they face the problem of the storm is to prepare themselves to evacuate to a safe place, move their boat to the coast, monitor storms at all the times, assess the situation as well as prepare important documents, food, clothing, and medicine. The communities wanted the government to participate in providing sustainable assistance. That is from the interview data. This is just want to show you the Pabuk, the name of the storm last year, moving through Songkhla province. You can see the very deep red is the eye of the storm hit my province. Actually, it's here. My province somewhere here. The storm is moved like this and just go up and hit another province, not hit the Songkhla province. But since the storm moved by, it also create the strong wind, strong wave, and also coastal erosion along the coastline that the storm passed through. In the conclusion, climate change results in higher temperatures, causing cool air mass to rise, which tends to decrease the storm frequency. This sentence we have to prove as well that if the climate change that is mean it cause make higher temperature, it will be decrease the storm frequency. This you have to do more research to prove this sentence. But from our research, we think it's true. Adaptation of the coastal communities was imperative. Furthermore, the stronger monsoon might cause more severe coastal erosion problems, which would affect coastal ecosystem, fisheries, and population settlement and tourist industries. Therefore, the adaptation of the coastal communities was necessary for all the sectors to join in solving this problem. This study was financially supported by the government budget in year 2019. Yes, thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pradit. Okay, that's for all of us to remember and be guided by exactly we need to orient the people about coastal problems. And right now the steps that she just gave is perfect for our needs as well in the other countries. The last speaker we'll ask the questions later. The last speaker is Ms. Kitiwara Sornplang of the Prince of Songkhla University, Thailand, on the garbage situation and management at the communities in the small island, a case study of Libong Island, Trang Province in Thailand. I'd like to give due credit to the other authors of this, Naresuan, Siriporn Pradit, Prakit Napradit, Dudsadi Muenhor, Prawit Towatana, Usman Wangsani, Norma Sama from the Institute of Peace Studies, Prince of Songkhla University in Thailand, but also assisted by, of course, the Departments of Marine and Coastal Resources Institute, the Coastal Oceanography and Climate Change Research Center, the Faculty of Environmental Management in the same university, and even the Health Impact Assessment Research Center and the Center for Excellence in Hazardous Substance Management in Bangkok. So we'd like to request now Ms. Kitiwara Sornplang to present her research paper. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kitiwala Sornplang. I'm PhD student at Macquarie. Today I would like to present a part of my thesis that study about marine debris management approach, a case study of Libong Island, Tang Province, Thailand. For this part study about garbage situation and management at the community in the small island, a case study of Libong Island, Tang Province, Thailand. This is the outline. The almost of garbage around the world tend to increase continuously, which is caused by a global population, global resourcing, and increasing human production and consumption. In Thailand, most of the garbage management was done improperly, such as garbage disposal by dumping and burning. From situation of garbage management in Thailand, a report by the Pollution Control Department found that the quality of garbage tend to increase every year. The islands of Libong Tang Province was experiencing an increasing amount of garbage and incorrect sanitation disposal. Garbage piles were placed around house, public place, beach, and some were dumped into the sea. In this way, improper garbage management had an adverse impact on environment and marine animals, such as dugong eating plastic fragments, causing clogging of its digestive tract and death. This objective to study the situation and waste management of communities on Libong Island, Tang Province, as well as finding ways to solve the problem that occur in the community. The study area consisted of 4 winlets on Libong Island, namely บ้านโคกสะท้อนบ้านบาบุตูบูเตะบ้านหลังเขา and บ้านทรายแก้ว In this study, by using qualitative research method, the study samples were households living on Libong Island. The sample size of 260 households. Sampling method for data collection Using the quota determination method, was used the samples were separated into 4 groups divided by the number of 4 winlets. The accidental sample was used for random sampling. Data was collected by using questionnaire with in-depth interview. Data was analyzed using descriptive statistics. For interferential statistics was conducted by analysis one-way ANOVA and chi-square. The result, the first one, economic and social data, revealed that most of the sample group were female 64.6%, mostly working age 67.7%. Half of the sample group, 50.4%, completed primary education. Almost all of them were Muslim, 99.2%. Largely engaged in agriculture, 35.2%. Their income were less than 10,000 baht per month, 46.9%. The second, situation of household garbage. Household garbage per week, most of it was general garbage, followed by organic garbage. General garbage mostly from use of necessary things in daily life, 70.4%. Followed by organic garbage, most of cooking activity, 80.8%. Garbage sorting investigation showed that most of the sample groups has garbage separation before disposal, 70.3%. Garbage disposal study revealed that organic garbage disposal was mainly used as organic fertilizer, 54.2%. For general garbage disposal, 57.2%, and hazardous garbage disposal, 78.4%, was put in the garbage bin. The third, knowledge regarding garbage management is what found that the interviewee with most correct answer had 15 points. This indicated that the sample groups living in different villages has no difference in knowledge of garbage management. From the questions with incorrect answers such as it was found that the sample group lacked knowledge about garbage types. The impact of marine waste on humans. The fourth, garbage management practice. The experiment by 12 questions, each with each question was divided into 3 levels of practice, including regular practice was mostly related to sample group with the garbage separation before disposal, 54.4%. Occasional practice was highly involved in the sample group with community garbage management activity, 42.9%, and never practice was mostly involved in the sample group without littering into the sea, 69.5%. The test of relationship between the windlet and the household garbage management behavior by using chi-square statistics. The sample group that lived in different windlets had different behavior in waste management behaviors of households, with statistics significant at the level of 0.05. The last guideline of solving garbage problem. Most of the sample group give the opinion. The campaign activity should be organized that way should be attained or provide knowledge about garbage management, including public relations on garbage management, continuously and seriously. Furthermore, raising awareness for the youth in garbage separation and disposal should be carried out. The conclusion. The first one, economic and social condition. The villagers were in the working age, a low level of education, earn their living less than 10,000 baht per month from rubber plantation. The second one, situation of household garbage. The daily activity caused the most household garbage. Most of the garbage was sorted before disposal. Some of villagers still had to get rid of the garbage incorrectly. The third, knowledge about garbage management. The villager had a high level of knowledge about garbage management. However, there was still confusion about the type of garbage and the correct methods of garbage disposal, including the impact of garbage on the health of human and other living things. The fourth, garbage management practice behavior. The villager had garbage separation on a regular basis. Most villagers were used to burn garbage outdoors. In addition, it was found that different villages had different behavior in garbage management practice. The last one, approach to solve the problem of garbage management. So that there should be a campaign to educate and use public relations about garbage management continuously and seriously, including raising awareness of proper garbage separation and disposal for the youth. Thank you for your attention.
We thank Ms. Sornplang for the very, very beautiful tips on garbage management. Okay, we'd like to open the floor for questions with the last two speakers. Any questions for Dr. Pradit and questions for Ms. Sornplang? Yeah. Questions for the first one? Yes. Did somebody raise her hand or his hand? Are there any questions for the first one? Okay, I think the first speaker really just focused on for us to prepare and need to orient the people on coastal communities, practical preparations that I think are applicable to all our countries when there is what you call the storm surge in our coastal communities. And for the second one, garbage, which has been a problem all throughout, the constant need for re-education, training, especially for those who don't know much about garbage, and continuous campaigns would help us in the whole campaign against getting rid of all our waste products. So we'd like to say thank you very much to our speakers this afternoon, and also to all the speakers, including the first two speakers here, Ms. Songkawadi and Dr. Kongmi, for their very detailed and interesting presentations. I turn back to the organizers. Thank you. Okay.
And I also would like to thank you, Dr. Castaneda, for being the moderator for the afternoon session as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now it's time for a short break. After a break, we will have a closing ceremony. So please come back here at 3 o'clock. Okay, the short break will be outside. Thank you.
สวัสดีค่ะ and welcome back to the afternoon sessions. Before we start, could I give you a gentle reminder about the questionnaire that you have been given on the first day. Please, even if there is anyone who hasn't returned the questionnaire yet, please return it to the staff at the registration desk.
Okay, and at this opportunity, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Ricardo Palma, Secretary General, Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific, or AUAP, to give us short remarks. Please, Dr. Palma.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The 34th Annual Conference of AUAP, with the theme Climate Change Adaptation, the Challenging Role of Higher Education Institutions, has come to an end. We would like to express our sincere thanks to Naresuan University for their kindness and hospitality in hosting this annual event. We enjoyed our stay, and I would say that the papers presented, especially this afternoon, gives us a glimpse of what the Thai universities are doing in terms of research in order to overcome this dangerous problem that is confronting us. As a tradition, every 2 years, we organize the General Conference. This is the annual conference. Then the year after, we will have the General Conference. And I am very happy to announce that the General Conference of AUAP will be held in Manila next year, and the host institution is Lyceum University of the Philippines, Batangas. And I'm also very proud to announce that the first Vice President of AUAP and the President of Lyceum University of the Philippines, Batangas, is here with us, and I would like to invite Dr. Peter Laurel to please come up the stage and say a few words about his university and about our annual conference.
Thank you very much, Secretary General Rick Pama. To Naresuan University, I'd like to likewise acknowledge with deep appreciation and thanks the kind hospitality been accorded to all of us. We would like to invite those present here on November 18 to November 20, 2020, to come and join us in the Philippines. We have prepared a very short video for you to see, and we hope to organize a very interesting, very useful conference. And we are inspired by the very interesting events that we have seen here in the last 3 days, together with that of SIAS University, and I think many of us were present during that time. So it is in the spirit of optimism and appreciation that we reiterate our kind invitation to join us in the Philippines. The dates are November 18 to 20, and we assure you, you'll have a very exciting time in your visit to the Philippines. Many, many thanks, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
Wow, such a beautiful countries, and I'll be waiting to attend the conference there. All right, and thank you very much for today. The program after this, we'll have the campus tour, and then the last stop will be visiting the School of Renewable Energies and Smart Grid Technologies, as the video shown in the morning sessions. And then,
How about the bus?
I forgot to remind you that the bus will be waiting for you in front of the buildings, and we'll leave here in about 10-15 minutes.
Okay, and may I also give you a gentle reminder again that the dinner reception tonight will take place at the swimming pool, okay, at the hotel. And see you all there, and thanks again, and have a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.